This is about the post office. The post office, I'm a big fan of the post office for the most part. It's an institution that's as old as this country itself. You can have a letter and send it to your great-grandmother in Alaska for 50 cents. That's what else can you do for that sort of money in this country? So the post office is really great for a number of reasons, but we all know that the post office is right now in a lot of trouble. Over the last decade, the post office has seen its mail decline by 28%. The mail carriers delivered 60 billion fewer pieces of mail in 2015 than they did 10 years earlier. First-class mail, stamped letters, that's kind of the bread and butter of the USPS. The post office is first-class mail. That's declined by half since over the last 10 years. So the post office is in a lot of trouble, and one of the reasons why is because of the internet. And there was a Government Accountability Office report released this week. We covered it over at the District Sentinel, my news website, districtsentinel.com. Check it out. But I have a story up there about this Government Accountability Office, the GAO, about their report. It was commissioned by some senators who wanted to know how the internet is affecting mail delivery, the demand for the Postal Service. And the GAO went about interviewing various postal officials and experts, and here I am, I'm using experts. I just criticized an article for claiming that they cite experts, but the GAO interviews a bunch of people on what is the future of the post office in the age of the internet, in the age of people no longer getting their utility bills in the mail and sending checks in the mail to the utility company, but instead just going on the internet, seeing how much they owe and paying over the internet. Or instead of sending letters to your friend across the country, you're now just sending emails. So we've seen the effect. As the internet has proliferated, mail has gone down. And as a result, the Postal Service has experienced 9 straight years of losses, of losing money, 9 straight years. Now, that's not all a result of the declining mail volume. A big reason why the post office has been losing money since 2006 is because of legislation passed by Congress, the Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act. It was a voice vote. It was passed unanimously. And what it did is it required the post office to spend about $5 billion every year pre-funding a retiree health benefits program. Sounds fine, except they had to pre-fund this program 75 years into the future for some reason. They had to, in other words, pre-fund retiree benefits of mail carriers who hadn't even been born yet. That required them to spend $5 billion out of their treasuries every year, something that can really suck their treasuries dry if you're spending $5 billion every year. This is a requirement that Congress placed on them in 2006, and this is a requirement that no other government agency, business, nobody has ever had to comply with before. So that's one other reason why the post office is in really bad shape right now, this bad law that was passed in 2006. But the GAO, they didn't look at this law. They instead focused strictly on the internet. And here's the interesting thing. Some of these people interviewed by the GAO suggested that this downward trend in mail, what they call electronic diversion, people being diverted from using paper mail to instead doing their business online, a lot of the people interviewed said that this is only going to be temporary, and that this downfall in mail is short-lived, that it's going to be reversed. And one of the reasons they said that this is going to happen is because of computer hacking. I'm just going to read straight from the GAO report. It says, quote, "Internet privacy and security concerns could be contributing to a slowed rate of electronic diversion of people using the internet instead of mail." GAO also pointed to meetings with business officials who said their area customers believe that the USPS, the Postal Service, is safer to use because of computer hacking and identity theft concerns associated with online transactions. So people, they ditched the post office, paying their bills online, using email to correspond online. As more people get burned online doing that through cyber hacking and whatever, they might turn back to the post office. So in other words, one of the beneficiaries of all this cybersecurity anxiety and hacking woes might actually be the post office. I don't know, give us a call. Let me know what you think about that. If you have given up on the post office and now do all your stuff online, or if you're doing all your stuff online and are getting a little wary about it because of all the cyber hacking concerns and now want to turn back to the post office. I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on all that. I should say that other experts reviewed by the Government Accountability Office weren't so optimistic about the post office's future. In fact, they said that electronic diversion, or more people using online resources than the post office, is probably going to ramp up as the younger generation, which is used to doing everything online, comes of age and becomes the dominant forces in our economy and society. They just won't use the post office at all. So we'll have to see. Worth also mentioning that people who might go to use the post office because they're concerned about online surveillance or hacking, they might be concerned about that with the post office too. Wrote a story over at the District Sentinel a few weeks ago about how Senator Ron Wyden is inquiring with the U.S. Postmaster General about a program called Mail Covers, which is essentially a surveillance program in which postal employees are photographing the outside of mail, basically capturing the metadata of all letters in transit, and then turning that information at the request of law enforcement over to the government without a warrant. We saw that there was a Freedom of Information Act request that showed that just over the last 10 years, the feds submitted nearly 90,000 requests for the post office to collect information about the mail sent to and from particular addresses. Senator Wyden wrote in his letter, given this high volume, it is important to make sure there are strong controls on the program to ensure that this technique is not used improperly. So a little bit of news about the post office. Call in. Let me know what you think, if you have given up on the post office or see yourself turning back to this institution that, as I said, it's as old as the country itself.